just all set, ready to go for you today, Doug and Chris.
Got 2 more minutes, yeah? 2 more minutes.
Sure.
I know we're going to get started here in a couple of minutes. I see a lot of familiar faces, or I guess names, right, in the participant chat. So welcome back. In order to get the most out of this session, if you've already experienced this, or this is the first time you've watched, right, I encourage you to type in your name, your company, where you're from, what market do you serve, what are you most excited about learning today. We're going to kind of cover the gamut. We're going to summarize a lot of things, but also, especially if you are working with others, right, as a team, and not necessarily like buyer agent, listing agent team set up, but like, how do you take these big ideas and execute them, especially if you don't have the technical know-how? We're going to get into it. So please go into the participant chat right now. Say a quick little hello at the very least, and we're going to get started here shortly.
We've got some hand waves also on the Facebook Live, and some more hellos over there as well. So we'll do our best to communicate between both platforms.
Yeah, all right. We got Colleen joining us. Hello, thanks for joining us. Dee Bennett from Shore West Realtors. I know I'm not going to say this right, but it's Menominee Falls.
Menominee Falls, close enough.
That was really good. We had the Waukesha one last week, so
Waukesha.
Learning all of our.
I won't say Waukesha again.
Waukesha. Well, hey, it's 11 o'clock, so let's get started. I just like to say good morning and welcome back to everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to get on our call on our weekly Metro MLS Town Hall meeting, where we endeavor to bring new information to you in these interesting times. And we have been just so happy and just so blessed to have our good friend Doug DeVetri with us the last several weeks. And today is all about how Vanilla Ice would say, how do you say? All right, stop. Oh, I was off by 1 chord. Hold on. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Okay, but in all seriousness, today is all about collaboration. And we're so excited for Doug to come in and talk about how, especially in these times of the new virtual, how do you collaborate with individuals? How do you collaborate, as Doug said, as a team?
Yeah.
So we're really excited to get into that. And let's just go ahead and advance through this, Erica.
Yeah, we're going to start with our quick challenge today.
Excellent. So one way that we've been encouraging folks to introduce this new way to search in MLS is what we call the Quick Search Challenge. And every single week, we put a challenge out there for agents, members of Metro MLS, to come in and to understand a new, different, and a more efficient way to get the most out of your MLS to search within the MLS. And so every week, for those individuals that participate and follow through in the Quick Search Challenge, we have a weekly giveaway for an Amazon gift card. So, Erica, our very own Vanna White, if you could please spin that wheel and see who our winner is this week.
Yep, let me get going. We have the actual wheel loaded.
All right.
So I'm going to come over to the wheel. Not as graceful as Vanna, but here we go.
Hurry up before we watch the screen. And the winner this week is? Spinning. Is that Kevin Clifford?
Yes, Kevin Clifford.
Congratulations, Kevin Clifford.
Well done.
We'll be sending you more information on your Amazon gift card. Just moving along, we also would like to say thank you to Doug. And a lot of this builds on information and facts that he builds that he really goes over in great detail in his book, Screen to Screen Selling.
Yes, and we have copies of our book here, right here.
We have copies of his book right here. Thank you, Erica.
Yep.
And to a lucky individual on this call, you'll be winning a copy of Doug's Screen to Screen Selling book. You'll have that opportunity this call. But with no further notice, our very own Michael Jordan of Screen to Screen Selling. I want to turn off all the lights and have a spotlight on you, Doug, now. And now, starting forward, Doug DeVitri. Take it away, Doug. Good morning.
You know, what a treat, right? So we've done 4 of these already, and they're just a lot of fun, right? And when we before we get started, I was like, Erica, this is the last one. You know, what are we gonna do? It's just like, I don't want it to end.
That's what I said. I said, I'm just getting the hang of it.
Well, here's the way my business operates, and it's a lot different from most people's. Is I'm in the skill transfer business. As a consultant, my role is to talk myself out of a job each time. And so by doing so, by transferring skills, now where you own it, I teach you how to fish. That way you can feed your own family. And really, when it comes down to it, there's going to be new skills that are going to be required. There's going to be new technologies that you're going to be facing. You know, when we look at automation, we look at artificial intelligence, we look at Amazon Alexa, like what's next? You know, we can decide whether or not we're going to let our competition take ownership of it, right? Or we can decide, you know, to ourselves, well, this just isn't for me, and then you might potentially lose out on business to your competition that does take action on it, right? So really, like when we look at these skills, I just encourage you to like own it, be comfortable where you are. You know, I remember saying one of my closing remarks in a previous session was my triathlon coach would remind me to run the mile that you're in, right? Run the mile that you're in. Don't think about mile 13 when you're on the first mile. Don't think about mile number 26 when you haven't made it to the 5th mile. Run the mile that you're in. Be okay with that, right? And so no matter where you are, I'm just so glad that you've joined us, that you're back, that you're eager to take on more. And I don't know, maybe we'll do more of these. Maybe we'll do like another surprise visit, right? So the possibilities are endless. And really, when I look at myself, right, when I look at my business, you know, I don't have a huge operation behind me, right? I'm an independent business owner, right? And as an independent business owner, I can't be all things to all people, right? Nor can I expect to know everything, right? Like, even though I might have these fancy equipment, may I be able to get on these deals, I can't do it all, right? Though anybody who thinks that they can is just a setup for failure. And so what I want you to do is not try to take on this all, even in like through our discussion here. These aren't all my ideas, right? These are our ideas. So one of the questions that I kind of posted inside the participant chat, and I would encourage you to look at this, right? Like really take this seriously, not just say, okay, you know, Pat, welcome back, Patty, welcome Dee, thanks for joining us again. I want you to share some of these lessons that you've learned. So Ben, Amanda, Chuck, Doris, Felicia, come on, share with some of these things you've done differently, because here's an opportunity in collaboration in real time that I don't think you've seen before, or at least a way that we're going to be able to facilitate it together. So when we think of collaboration as a team, it's not just the people who are inside of my company, and it's not so much the people who I might hire or outsource on Fiverr.com or Upwork.com, or maybe if I hire an intern to be able to work in my business. We need to be able to work together and be able to collaborate within a defined process. And so by us modeling a best practice and creating this process for you, we're going to hand it over to you. We're going to give you ownership of it. And then you'll be able to customize it for yourself. And then you'll be able to implement it at whatever level you want to be able to take it, right? Like, you might not win the world championship of selling real estate in your market, right? You might not necessarily want to be the #1 top producer. Maybe you do. I don't know. It depends on what your goals and aspirations are. But at the very least, we can kind of empower you, not just thinking differently, but giving the tools and the skills in order to be able to do it. So please, right now, I asked a couple questions here in the participant chat. What have you implemented or done differently from our webinar series? Right? It could be a tool, it could be a skill, it could be the digital whiteboard. What success story do you have? A success story that you've had in working with a client remote? Right? you're able to share a Zoom meeting with a client from a property where you have listed, and you're able to navigate them the tour. Maybe you've done a virtual open house using Zoom, and you shared the link on a Facebook page as an event, and then you've got people that had attended, and you're able to get a lead, or at least be able to show your seller that you're actively working in this marketplace where others just aren't, right? Other people are just kind of closed up shop. Other people are waiting for the market to return. But I just know by joining this session today, that you're not one of those people. Like, you are serious, and you are committed to be able to do so. And then also, like, do you have a mistake you made, right? Did you like, let's be honest here. Like, I make mistakes all the time, right? I just try not to make the same mistake twice, you know? I know it's hard to me. It's hard to me to laugh about this, but I was married once, right? You know, I'm not going to make the same mistake I did again. With technology, you're going to make mistakes. Just know that when you take ownership of it and what you can do differently, boy, we're gonna be able to move together. So this is so cool. So thank you, Julie, for joining us. I know that you were active on the last webinar, and we've stayed connected even on LinkedIn. So thank you for your feedback there. She's with Remax United in Milwaukee, and she's set up Zoom, awesome, and Loom, and she's asked a mortgage lender to do an interview to then put her on social media. Awesome. So think about this, right? So if you have somebody else, like a transactional partner in your marketplace, like a lender, why not get them to join a Zoom meeting just like you are right now? And then when you have a conversation about financing alternatives that cause, say somebody maybe loses a job, or somebody, whatever happens with them financially, they might not be able to own a place. What a great opportunity to have a conversation. So Julie, I'm really excited to hear what type of marketing opportunities that turns in for you. Cool. Felicia just says she's been able to share Loom and Zoom to the Facebook Live knowledge with some of her awesome colleagues, friends, and it's made an impact on their business. So, this is so great that we're kind of like learning and sharing with one another. And now we're going to take it to a whole nother level. Now, with your permission, Chris, Erica, I'm going to go into screen share mode. If that's okay with you. Can I share my screen?
Of course you can. Thumbs up. Make it happen.
So I always like to ask for permission right before I share my screen with folks, because if I don't, I might get in a situation where they might not necessarily want to see the screen shared. So this is our project management link, and this is a tool called Trello. So if I type in Trello.com, this is what it looks like. So with Trello, what it is it's a online project management tool. Now you might have heard of a tool called Basecamp, or you might be using Asana, or you might be using Microsoft To Do, or Wunderlist. In fact, Wunderlist is no longer Microsoft, and buying them and converted in called Microsoft To Do. But anyways, Trello is what I use to be able to gather all my thoughts, all these ideas, and put them into action. And so what I've done with this is I've created this link, and I'm going to go ahead and share this with you on the Zoom participant chat, right? So everybody who's on here is going to be able to have access to this link. And so what I did is I started thinking about, okay, in the last 4 weeks, what we've done is we've talked about a lot of different tools. We've talked about a lot of different processes, and even using this webinar here right now, how can we now take these ideas, put them into a way where we can not only just do them ourselves, but then also be able to delegate them, right? So if anybody wants, they can follow along on Zoom, right? Kind of like what we're doing in real time, or if you click on the link in participant chat that you can see. Now, what I've done, what I just did, and think about this, right, is we're kind of all learning together at the same time. And, big props to Erica on the Metro MLS team for taking ownership of this, because she was just shared this link, I don't know, what, Erica, 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes before we got started?
Yes, and I have also put it in the Facebook Live also. So those that are with us on Facebook Live also have access to this link. So
Cool. Well, okay, so I hope when you shared, right? So there's 2 links for Trello. Now, what I've done is I've made this a public board. So this is, anybody can see this board, right? But not everybody can collaborate on this, because I don't want everybody to have access to this and just kind of like mess it up. But what I'm asking for are for links, for resources that we can add in, and Eric and I will be collaborating on this. So this link at the top, this is the link to the public Trello board. But when I invited Erica, I clicked on invite, and then I copied this link. So see where it says create link? I created this link, and this is what I shared with her. So I'm hoping, or I'm guessing, that Erica didn't share the the collaborator link. I'm hoping that she shared the public link. And if not, you know, hey, we'll it's just one of those lessons we kind of learned together. So inside of here, if you clicked on the link, this is what you can see. Now, so if I go into Trello here, these are all the things that we kind of mentioned here so far. So do you remember when we talked about creating a Zoom virtual background?
yep, we did that.
And so I click on here, here's the link. So it says, you know, create a Zoom virtual background. So the link to this is inside of Canva as a task, right? So in this column, these represent all of the different tasks, you know, tools that you can download, tools that you can buy, or maybe their equipment that you can buy, or supplies that you might need for this type of process. So what I did is I created, this is called a card in Trello. So instead of a task, it's called a card in Trello. So this card has how to create a Zoom virtual background with free Zoom virtual background maker. So because this is saved in as a link, and you click on this link, it'll then open up this task, right?
Mhm.
So inside of here, you might decide that, hey, you know what, I'd be able to customize this my own way. So I'm going to create a checklist, right? So this checklist that I've added says I need to add, or I need to upload my company logo to Canva to be saved as an image inside of Canva. Okay, that's step number 1, right? Step number 2 is choose the template to be my background. Could we add a photo? I'm going to push to say free photo to be used in background. Okay, so here are your tasks. Now I just wrote that out, and Erica might say, okay, well, while I'm working on this, she could be working on another card. Well, Erica, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just kind of asking you to kind of like stay with me on this, right? So if I go here to Canva and I'm following this, now I've just created a task list for somebody else to help me create the virtual background, because I might not want to, or I might not have the time, or I have somebody who has a better eye for graphic design than I do, and I would maybe add them to be able to collaborate with me on this card. So now that I have this thing saved, I have the link for somebody to go to follow along. I've written out the best practices for somebody to follow. Now when I add in, see where it says members, add to card. Now I'm going to add in Erica as a team member to collaborate on this card. So see where it says members and Erica? Now that I have that in here, and I'm going to say in the activity, this is a discussion, I'm going to at Erica. Can you please follow along the checklist to create the virtual background in Canva for my Zoom meetings? Erica, does that make sense?
Yes, perfect sense.
Cool. And here's the thing when delegating, right? We need to be absolutely crystal clear what we want to delegate to other people, because people might not understand what it is we're trying to do. Like if I just shared this link and Erica got this link and said, create a virtual background, well, she wouldn't know what logo, right? She might not know what photo to put inside. She might not know, like it says here, insert text as the headline. Like she wouldn't know what I wanted her to do unless I spelled that out for her word by word. And the better that we get at writing out these descriptions inside of what we want people to do, the less back and forth we're going to have, and the more precise we're going to get people to accomplish that task.
And I love that it's in real time, because mine updated right away with what you typed. And if you go down to the bottom, I've already put a little thumbs up on your message to me a minute ago. So what a great way to collaborate in real time, you know, immediately responses back and forth.
Yeah, no doubt. And so thank you for chiming in on that. Also, I can assign a due date, right? I can say that I want that done by May 14th. By 11:19 a.m. And now that's going to be saved or integrated with her calendar if we have that set up, right? So as I kind of back out here, this was the first one that's on here as far as set up. Another thing I might do is say web around, right? I might have, let's pretend, you know, if Erica was my assistant, I just wish I could afford her. No, I'm not, Chris. I would not do that to you. So, so right here, I said, Erica, can you order the background and have it sent to my office? Now, what Erica might say, let's look at this together. That's me not being specific. Well, what background do you want? Do I want the fan favorite? Do I want the wide shot? Do I want the close up? Or do I want the big shot? Well, I might say to her, you know, go back here. I might say, Erica, sorry, I wasn't clear. Can you order the big shot one? And then put the link in here. Make sense? Or you could actually edit it in here and then save it, kind of go back. So you just start to look at these things. There's other ways of being able to use this. Maybe you have labels, and one label I encourage you to choose or maybe add is one that's called urgent, right? Like you want one that's urgent. So I might even mark this as urgent. Do I have it? I don't have it marked. Labels, urgent. So now, see how it shows up on green? So part of my policy in working with Erica is anything that's green is like urgent, right? Or I might even drag this and move it up to the top, because you can see you can just easily drag things up at the top. Now, when we compare this, right? So I'm going to kind of take a step back. If we were to, let's say you're taking notes, right? You're taking notes on a Microsoft Word document. And you have pages and pages and pages full of notes out of like 4 different sessions that we've done. Number one, you might have typed the wrong URL down, right? So if I said www.thewebaround.com, you say www what, right? So that's why the benefit of having this saved inside of an online tool is now you get the exact websites for people to go to. Also, what I love about Trello, it's free. If you like free, go ahead into the participant chat and type in free. It's a free app, right? And so, you know, can you pay a little bit more? Like an in-app purchase? Yeah, you can, but for the most part, you won't need to, especially if you're just starting out. Now, the mobile app is, I don't know about you, but I work from everywhere, and I don't have time to be able to pull my laptop in order to get in a situation where I need to either do or delegate something, which is why the mobile app comes in super handy. Also within, I can prioritize, I can move dates around, I can do all of that very fast. Whereas a Microsoft Word document, think about this, like, like if you have a strategic plan, right? You have this great strategic plan, but if it's not actionable, you're never going to be able to get there. And funny thing about strategic plans is they're listed on PDFs, but never are they broken down in a way that becomes like check, 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 check. These are the things that we're going to have to do in order to be able to accomplish that. Now, so I realize that's more of a tactical plan, but where you go from the strategic to tacticals, where Trello comes in super useful. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to sharing my screen here. So to kind of show you some other ones. So I remember I talked about Doceri. Now here's what ended up happening, right? So I see where it says start using Doceri now. That was that digital whiteboard app. Do you all remember that? Or maybe if you didn't, if you weren't on this before or this earlier, I'm going to show this to you. So this is the digital whiteboard. If I wanted to have conversations with folks, now I know I'm kind of being silly here and I was just drawing a smiley face. Maybe I draw in like a double axis chart, or maybe I draw in like a Venn diagram. I have different ways of being able to explain things, concepts that my clients can understand that my competition doesn't. Remember the pricing pyramid? Remember the days on inventory? Remember this? Okay, so this is the app called Doceri, right? So if I wanted to say, we'll start using Doceri now, the problem is there's no link attached to it. So I'm going to show you how you can add this to Trello easy, and make sure you get the right website, especially if you already have the website open up in your browser. So I'm going to type in Doceri right now. So this is the app, and then download is what I want to use. So it's different than the URL. Instead of doceri.com, it's doceri.com/download. Now, do you remember this? We talked about these before, called browser extensions. See these little icons? There's the one for Zoom. There's the one for LastPass. That's the one I use for remember all my passwords. There's the one for Loom. There's the one for as buffers for social media. But I have one for Trello, right? Trello is the one that's for project management. So actually, I'll go to Google and I'll type in Trello browser extension. I'll click on this. And I don't think I have this as a tab, and it's kind of funny. I'm demonstrating how to use Trello inside of Trello, right? Is because I already have it added. I'm going to save this website. So this is the Trello. I'm clicking the browser extension because I've already added in. Download Trello Chrome extension. Oh, so it's not download, it's add. And then see this right here where it says attach. I'm going to click this little button here, and I'm going to add this to my setup. So once I click add, now it's adding it to Trello. Now, when I go back over to here, I know I'm jumping around here, but you see how it says right here, add Trello Chrome extension? There it is. What do I give me two? So there. Now this is inside of our Trello board. Erica, is it inside of yours?
Yes, it is, Doug. Yep.
Cool. So then let's say I want to move this up to the top. That's one I really want to do. So you can start to prioritize these. This is a quick way of being able to add it. That way I get the exact link perfect, right? And I also, when I clicked on this, I had to click this button that says attach, because if you don't click attach, it won't attach the link to the specific card. Also, if I'm working from my mobile phone, I'm not gonna pull up the mobile mirroring so I can show you what it looks like. But if I'm on my mobile phone, right, and I find a website of a tool, where somebody says somebody finds the website on their phone and they want to add it to Trello. Now you could do the copy paste, which is, one way of doing it, but a faster and a more effective way to do it is to, on the bottom of your phone, if you click share, you're going to share the link by email or share the link by text message. You click share and you've already downloaded the Trello app to your phone, it'll give you the option to add the link to Trello. Very similar like we had here, where, go back to screen share. So just like, this would be like share, and then this is where you type it in. Well, I have different boards, right? I have a lot of different things going on here. So I wanted to make sure I added to the correct board, which is screen to screen selling, and that I added to the right list, because I have a couple different lists going on here. So the technology setup, that's where I got added into column here. I got added to this technology setup list, or this column here, is because I added it to the board and I added it to the column, and that's why everything's popping up over here. So I'm kind of want to take a step back here and see if like what questions you might have when it comes to taking these ideas and implement it fast. Or maybe there's another type of project management tool that you use that you're really familiar with and you like using. Trello is just an example of one. Like what tool are you going to use for video meetings? Not everybody's going to use Zoom, right? Everybody has their own personal preferences. I'm just showing you one that I use. It's free, it's easy, and that's how I like to do it. Chris, you had any kind of comments you wanted to add to that?
Well, it's kind of like you. I think what I like, I know you look at Trello. Our chief information officer, Chris Lambro, he loves Trello. And I think the way that we would use it for project management as an MLS would be different for a practitioner in the field. But what I can tell you is that that product is dynamic. When we look at software development and other things, and we look at agile, and obviously that's a different process than what a realtor would use in their own business or as a team, right? But the point is, it's dynamic enough to be able to utilize. And I think the one thing that even well-intended professionals like myself or others is we all have the best intentions of being organized every morning. You may be old school and break out your pad of paper and you take notes and you say, this is what I'm going to accomplish today. There's a better way to do it. And sometimes what's difficult, I think even for me, is I've done it this way and this works for me. It's difficult sometimes to take a step back and say, if I implement something new, this momentary growing pain will actually benefit me in the long term, right? And so I think you've highlighted some of those things, but I think that's the biggest thing, taking the first step and just trying something new, right? I mean, what do you think, Doug?
Yeah, so thanks, Chris, for adding on to that. So you probably heard of the book or read the book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and he has a great line that's been repeated by I don't know how many people, including myself. It says, if you want to be successful, you have to not just work in your business, but you have to work on your business, right? So in your business is a transactional activity of meeting buyers and sellers, right? If you want to grow your business, right, you want to own your business, then you start to work on the process of your business. So that way you can start to add in more team members and not have to do everything yourself. Now, the traditional way of taking ideas and putting them into action, and I'm just speaking my personal experience, right? 20 years ago, I would attend a seminar, I'd take them all down on a notepad, right? And then a week later, I'd be like, oh, what was that website that I had to go to, right? Okay, number one, what notebook was that in, right? Number two is what room did I keep the notebook? Number three is what page did I put it on? And like many times, it's like, oh, it's just like I totally forgot. Or I have to then send an email out to somebody who says, hey, do you remember that seminar we attended back in 1995? What was that website that I got shared? It's like, so this is a fast way of being able to take ideas, put them into action. And this is a process for it, right? And so when we look at speed, right, and we probably shared a visual at some point when we talked about, strategic leadership in technology, right? If you want to be a leader in your marketplace, it comes down to vision and it comes down to urgency. The fact that you're participating in this session says to everyone that, yeah, you have a vision that things can be better, right? Things are a little bit, challenging right now. How can I be resourceful using the time and the technology I already have access to in order to be able to service customers? So when we think about putting ideas into action, if you have a faster process of being able to do that, not just find the right people, but faster way to be able to execute, like it's getting, it wouldn't, let me ask you a question and feel free to answer it on the participant chat. Is it getting harder to sell real estate? I mean, have you been in the business for 30 years? Has it been harder? Be honest. You have more things thrown at you. How many tools do you have or does your broker give you that you have to be a master at in order to do your craft? Now, it's probably unrealistic to be an expert at all things, but think if you could just be that much better than everybody else.
Doug, I have an interesting question for you, and I'm going to piggyback on what you just said. With what you do day in and day out, because I know that you had spent time out in California because you were out there doing your job,
Yeah.
and then boom, you got stuck in an Airbnb for a while.
Yeah.
This change, ironically coming to the person who literally wrote the book on it, how has your business changed in the last 30, 60 days where you've had to adapt yourself? Somebody who actually wrote a book on it,
Yeah.
what changes have you had to adapt to?
Well, here's the thing, Chris, and this is I'm probably going to share things a little bit more personal than I normally would. But you know, I've gone through some challenging times in my life, right? Like it hasn't been the hockey stick, right? Like the internet or Facebook might lead it to believe. Like I've had some difficult stuff that I've had to go through. And so what first for me was having the right mindset and put in place, right? And it just so happened that I was here in a business retreat called the Mindset Reset that helped me like shift my thinking instead of just being pessimistic and negative about circumstances and things that I've had. This is even before this COVID, even before this pandemic even hit, right? And so it was for me that event flipped a switch. So now I'm coming to a place. Well, how can I serve as many people as I possibly can? How can I do it from an abundant heart, not being just closed off? And that's like number one. That was like the hit for me. That released all this like if you're connected with me on LinkedIn, you have seen, or social media, you've seen an influx of content that has kind of been hidden, right? Like some people haven't even seen this stuff before because I didn't come from a good place in order to be able to share. So all comes down to like your mindset. And so if your mindset is square, if you're eating good, if you are getting exercise, I know it might be challenging that it has before, hire a personal trainer, get your body, the oxygen mask principle, put your mask on first, and then you can start to help other people. It wasn't so much the technology that's helped my business grow in the last few months because it's my mindset that has. Doesn't get any more real than that, right?
No, absolutely. The one thing that I've learned about growth is the first thing you have to be able to do from a growth standpoint is you have to make yourself vulnerable. If you're not willing to make yourself vulnerable, you won't grow, because we all have to, in order to grow, you have to endeavor to do and go down roads that you are unfamiliar with and perhaps uncomfortable with. None of us want to fail. And I think, Doug, the biggest part about what you told me, it's very real. It's very real. You're a human being. We all go through ups and downs, right? Right now, this glass is half empty, or it's half full, or maybe it's 3/4 full. I don't know. This entire process of COVID-19. So I appreciate everything you said. I guarantee anybody listening to you and myself right now can identify with what you said. So thank you, Doug.
Yeah. And so this is, we can get back into the technology aspect of things, but I'm going to cover one more point because this is so critical to everything that we do, right? Like when we look at our personal health, right? Whether it's physical, it's emotional, mental, whatever it might be, are you sick right now? Like, can you answer that question? I'm not asking you, Chris, but I'm not, but like to everybody, like, is your business sick right now? And be honest. Now, if you were sick, if your health was sick, if you had chest pain, I know 3 years ago, I almost felt like I had onslaught of diabetes and I was going to have a heart attack because I was 50 pounds overweight and I was just kind of like, I was going the wrong direction. If you can acknowledge yourself that you're in pain right now, what would you do? You would go to a doctor, right? And when you go to a doctor, what's a doctor going to do? Doctor's going to ask you questions. Now, what you can do with that conversation with the doctor is you can be honest or you could lie. Like, no, I didn't smoke. I don't smoke. No, I don't eat bad food. No, I go to the gym every month. with a membership, right? Like you could lie to the doctor, and is that doctor going to be able to help you? Right? Now, there's maybe some doctors might prescribe you a bunch of drugs, ask you to come back in a couple of weeks, and then you're no better off, right? But I think, you're in a place right now where you're looking for answers, and we're able to help you. So here's kind of like my challenge to you, right? If your business is sick, again, this is the last one in our series. If your business is sick right now, share, right? Even if you don't want to share it public in the chat, share it with me privately. It'll just go to me, and I won't mention your name. Fair? And if so, if you feel comfortable doing that, and I will not disclose your name, I will I will give you my best recommendation based upon what you're sharing with me. So I'll let that sit for a little bit, and then we'll kind of move on to the technology.
That's great. Thanks, Doug. I
Yeah.
think everybody appreciates that.
Yeah.
In our Facebook chat, we did have a comment from Jim. Business is certainly more complicated right now. And I think these tools that you're giving them, are the perfect medicine to cure that ill. So.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you. And, here's the thing too, is with these tools, like, I don't know if you've ever been in group therapy before, but here's something to think about is when you're in a group situation, it's a trusted setting, right? Where people acknowledge we're all in the same place, right? Like we can all agree we're all in the same place right now, right? When you share what's working with you, other people benefit from that, right? And also when you share what's working for you, it takes your awareness to a higher level and helps you become a master at it where other people are still kind of struggling, right? So that's where kind of like sharing gives you the confidence. It gives you the ability to be able to move forward. So whether you want to share what's not working, you can also share what's working. This is where we can benefit from, because here's where this gets down to this, right? So if or when we get into a culture, maybe you can set up this type of culture within your team internally. If I'm gonna go back to screen share here, now we're on to Trello, right? And now I have now within my company, let's say you have a team of 5 in your company, or a team of 10, or it could be 1,000 people in your company, right? This isn't just limited to bootstrapped entrepreneurs. This could be for like a high performing organization. You look at some of the top companies in our field, chances are one of them is probably using Trello at the highest level. So if we're going to think about this as far as best practices, I were going to ask you this question, right? And let's say you had access to this Trello board to add in content like we did for links. And Eric, I'm going to ask you to help me with some of these things. What are some of the best practices when it comes to appointment setting and scheduling for these screen-to-screen meetings?
Well, we've been using your Chrome browser extension for Zoom, so that's super convenient. Right?
Okay, so good. Now pause for a second. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go into Trello and add it. All right? Now, while you add this onto Trello, everybody who's watching this right now is going to see this pop up in real time. Right? So she's just going to type in the basic information about the card. She's not going to go into, see that? Now, if I click on this, now I can see what she just typed in. Now, here's the thing, Erica, I want you to keep going deeper into what this, and as far as the steps go. So maybe you're typing the checklist, maybe you add me as a member. I want you to kind of do some of the things that I modeled as a best practice when we first started, okay? So, and create as many of these as you can just for this one inside of using the Chrome extension to schedule meetings. Do as much as you possibly can while I keep talking, because this is the power of collaboration, right? This is where we take not just, okay, this is like learning. This is the difference between learning and implementing, right? In a traditional environment, I'm going to back out of here by screen share, then I'm just going to come back to it after Erica continues to type some of those things in. In this environment, we have where I'm the host of the Zoom meeting, we have the supposed, sage on the stage, right? Now, I don't have all the answers, right? Where do the best answers come from? They come from everybody else. So if I give everybody access to be able to collaborate in a format, this could be a Trello board for my community. This could be a Trello board for my my strategic partners inside the transaction, you know, your lender, your inspector, your title company, to be able to work within whatever process you have. I know that one report, and I always give this shout out to them. This is something they did, I think, way back in like 2013. It's the Orlando Regional Realtor Association. They created this report called The Critical Role of the Realtor. I don't know, Chris, if you want to try to Google this thing and find it. It's like a PDF document and share it inside the participant chat. Again, this is collaboration in action right now. But that they have over 100 different tasks that are associated with the real estate transaction, right? So within those 100 plus tasks, whether you're working with a buyer or you're working with the seller, it gives you those specific tasks that now you can put into a project management to be able to manage with not just one person, but everybody. Now, here's the thing too, right? While Chris is trying to find this PDF and share it through a link or share it through the file, you know, you might already have tools that works, you know, like transaction management, right? You might already have that set up. So what I'm not suggesting is you duplicate something, a process that you already have, but there might be a process as far as creative that you own, that's independent to you and your company or your team, that you can put together to be able to collaborate with, so that, again, you don't have all the answers, but you've been able to facilitate the process of gathering this information so you can then share it with your customers, right? So think of everybody who's participating as the customers, that we've created this Trello board in the process of screen-to-screen selling. So we've created the link to be able to share with all the participants. And as Erica and I and Chris are collaborating on this document, or maybe you even share something in the participant chat, say, ooh, I really like this, or ooh, this really worked. Then I can move that over to the Trello board and then make it available to everybody. So again, instead of Sage on the stage having to know everything, now we're taking collective pull inside of a process that works and it's proven, and then everybody can be able to benefit from. So thanks, Chris, for sharing that that link for the critical role of the realtor. I'll go ahead and go back in the screen share, and we'll see what kind of progress Erica's made. Good. So so what she's done is she's added a date. So we're going to have this Zoom Chrome extension downloaded and working and logged in, so we can actually schedule a meeting, right? Just like this. Schedule a meeting. Remember this from I think this was the first webinar we did. If not, go back and watch it, because this was the first one was a really, really good one. So again, we're going to do this on May 8th by 2 p.m. Here's the link we want somebody to go to. And then we're going to train our team on how to be able to schedule Zoom meetings. So then that way, when we send out the link, it's integrated with everybody's calendar. Maybe we just kind of follow this. We're going to train members on how to use this. So let's say I have this open, right? And I'm going to train people on how to do it. We might have our own team meeting, or I can just create a Loom video. Remember Loom, right? Do you remember Loom? Loom with an L? It rhymes with Zoom. We click this, we create a quick video on how to use the scheduler for our team, and then we paste the link to the video inside of here, so now people can start to follow along.
I did also add an action item for you at the bottom.
Ooh, yeah, good. So develop screenshots for training team members or training members of the team. Cool. So yeah, like you probably would go in here and then, sorry, I forget where some of these tabs open. You ever get overwhelmed with tabs? It's kind of like housekeeping. You have to start to close them down as you go through. And what's good about this too is, let's say if I close these tabs because I've saved it into here, right? I can easily access them, and I don't have to Google it every time I want to be able to find it. So maybe, like Erica said, to take a screenshot of this and make this as part of my training materials.
So Doug, then as we go through this task that we've assigned to our team, what do members do then? Do they check off the things on the checklist? Can they add comments, saying, what they did, or maybe if they're struggling with something?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And before I go into screen share, I kind of want to share with you kind of like a dynamic flow of getting things done, right? So typically, like, and here's a question for you: do you get way more emails than you want on a daily basis?
I think everyone does right now. Chris,
Okay, all right.
before that, many people have reached their saturation point lately.
Yeah, with emails, right? So if we're going to take a project, right? We're going to take a project, and then for each one of these tasks, we're going to have an additional 10 emails for a new task about Loom, right? 10 emails just about Loom, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And somebody asks you, say, well, go check the email that I sent you on April 20th. You're going to say, what email? I don't remember that. Did you send it? I don't know. Was it sent? I don't know. Did you forget to add the attachment? Where's the attachment? And like, the amount of time it takes to be able to find that is too much, right? And an email that you sent way too many of them. Now, if we took a process where we're going to put everything into Trello, right? Now we have all of the links, right? For the discussion about the webcam background solution, we've already started this conversation here. So then, Erica, if you wanted, you could then what you could do is you could say, you can add in a new comment saying, it was ordered. Oh yeah, you did already. Look at you, 28 minutes ago. I'm telling. I think Chris, you need to give her a raise. I think you were trying to say something on mute. That's okay.
I just said I support that.
Okay. So yeah, so she already says Big Shot will be delivered on Friday. Now, cool. So now that task is, say, done, now you can move this thing over to where it's completed, right? So if you're gonna ask, well, you remember the movie Office Space? There's the guy's like, what exactly do you do here? This is how you know what's been getting done. So even like, okay, let's say the team meets and has a Zoom meeting, right? And we fill up Trello as much as we possibly can, and then next Monday we're gonna have a meeting. And then so on Monday we're gonna say, okay, we're gonna do the webcam background. We're going to get a mesh Wi-Fi network. So this is in process. This is what we're going to do. We're also going to do Loom. Okay, cool. Now, some of these items can just be moved over, right? So let's say that the webcam background, that's done, right? That's done. So now we know that it's done. And Erica or anybody else who was invited as a collaborator on this board would get a notification saying that it's done. Now, let's say for this type of task, I, Doug, need to review the webcam background because I want to make sure that it's right, that it's done the way that I want it to. Maybe that the right text was used, or maybe I might decide after Erica created the virtual background that I want to change up the text. So now if it's in review, kind of in the review list, I know, okay, it's now for me a chance to take a look at it. And then me as kind of like, let's say the boss or the one who's kind of running the show here, I then say, okay, now it looks good. Now it's complete. Now your team has to kind of design their own process, right? You have to design your own workflow. When we look at kind of, Chris mentioned agile project management. This is what this looks like at the very basic level. But really, like, your team kind of has to create their own process that they feel comfortable with. Just like using Zoom for the first time, how do you mute yourself? How do you unmute yourself? How do you share your screen? How do you know when to share your screen? Your team will start to come up with their own with your own way that you do it. So if I told you this is how you do it, you might say, well, I don't like that, or I would do this differently. Totally cool. Your team has to own the process, and if you're a leader of your organization, or you're the sole entrepreneur who's bringing on people to be able to help you, you need to be able to own that process and then train your people on the process that you have created. How does that sound?
I'm all for it. I think that's great information, actually. If there's any other nuggets you want to squeeze out there, Doug, I'll ask that you take the next minute or so to get through it, and then I want to make sure that we end this meeting properly.
Yeah, good. So here's what I can share with you, and here's what I can promise you, right? So this link that you have, and Chris, what I would recommend doing is this link for the Trello board, not the one that I gave for Erica as the collaborator. Don't share that one publicly, because if we had 100 people joining a collaborative board for this, it could get out of hand pretty quickly. So what and a lesson to learn for yourself too, right? So what I would do is this link for this Trello board will grow over time, right? We will start to collect more of these best practices. We will collect more of these tools. We might even go back from the list of the different chats, the participant chat sessions that we had, to say, oh, I like that one. Oh, I like that. Oh, let's add that into Trello, because that's something that we need to be able to do. So this being said, the link that I sent you is a living, breathing document, right? However, this isn't just a living, this isn't a Google Doc, right? This isn't a Microsoft Word this isn't a Microsoft Word document that's saved in Dropbox. This is a living, breathing link that becomes actionable project management that you can work with your team on. So when we look at like, how do we improve the way we work? Like, well, I don't know, at least for training and development, here's something I would hold your speakers and instructors accountable for, is don't just let them give you a paper handout anymore. Don't just let them give you a PDF that they print off. Make what they give you actionable, right? Make it to where you can actually get onto your mobile phone, use it, do it, delegate it, so where you own it. That way you can take these ideas and put them into action faster, right? Because it's like, you've heard of like the race for relevance before. Like, how you become relevant is by how quickly you're able to put some of these ideas into action. So I know that you can do it no matter what mile you're trying to run, no matter what step in the process that you're in. If you're just starting up, great. If you're a master, great. You can always get better, no matter where you are.
I think that's well said, Doug. This is going to conclude today's meeting. It's going to conclude our series with Doug. And Doug, just at a personal level, I just wanted to say how much I've appreciated reconnecting with you over the last several weeks. And I started this series off by introducing you as a friend of mine from the industry, and you and I go way back. And I'm so glad to see you've sharpened your pencils and you've retooled your mental outlook, and you're attacking it. On behalf of myself and Erica, and frankly, the entire staff, and I'll say all the realtors in Wisconsin that have tuned in, that have learned something and taken the time to participate in this, this has been really special. And during all this is something I'll never forget, Doug, in my professional career, this time of COVID-19 and how we responded and how we reacted. And frankly, with those business partners who have stepped up and really helped out the industry during this time, you're going to be one who's going to be remembered, I think, for everything that you're doing, but during this time, at least for me. And so I want to say a sincere thank you, Doug. This has been great, and I don't think we could have asked for more.
Yeah, wow.
Absolutely. It's been tremendous working with you. We've learned so much. So I know our guests have learned. So absolutely beneficial information.
So and for any realtor out there, Doug is fantastic. I will tell you, what you see is what you get. This is not a face. This is who Doug is. And so I would take advantage of reaching out to him if you have questions, because he's a fantastic resource. He's I think on many different levels. But Doug, you're my friend. I've appreciated your time. And what better way to end it than to announce the last two winners of your book, Screen to Screen Selling, through a random selection. Very excited. Mia, I'm sorry if I mispronounce these last names, folks. My last name is Carrillo, but it doesn't mean that I can always pronounce last names that end in vowels. Mia Scafferiti and Amanda Raffaelli. I hope I said that correct. If I didn't, I apologize, but I'm very excited to say you are the winners of these books.
Can I add one last thing, Chris?
Please, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I got to tell you, there's a time I wanted to quit. I totally wanted to quit. I felt like the world was collapsing on me. It wasn't until I reached out for help that it made a difference. And now, now I'm in such a position of strength and courage. And it's because I have friends who've supported me, friends like you, that are able to kind of facilitate something like this. And as a leader in our industry, you're one of them, my friend. You're the one who took ownership of this and made this available to your members. So we're in this together. And so anybody who's watching this knows they've got a terrific leader at the helm. You always have been, you always will be. So thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Hey, you did it. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. And that'll wrap up today, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. And you got me, Doug. Thanks. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks again. Bye.
Thank you all.